being vegan, right? Be kind, be vegan, vegan for the animals, yes. Not only the Macedonian subject, doesn't really matter what we are talking about, any subject for that matter. Here, check this out, right? This is thanks to Kirill yet again from Samuel's Fortress. Started reading the early medieval Balkans. Great book. Check it out if you want to have a little bit of context. And another one, again, due to Kirill, A Concise History of Bulgaria. Beautiful book as well. Not too thick, interesting read for dummies like myself. So you can read through it. But yet again, don't take my word for it and don't take those books for granted either, right? Those books could lie. We cannot appeal to authority. So how do we know what is real and what is not, right? So for that, we have to awaken to the truth of God. And then you will simply know. Nobody can fool you. So people are really trapped in their intellect, right? They're quoting studies like the vegans. Show me the study now. Without the study, I cannot believe you. It's always the same, it's ridiculous, right? So you can always find a study to prove a point, but in the end, how do you know? And you can only know by direct experience. So now, if you're willing to receive the truth, it is really not that hard. So you can read historical books, right? You can browse the internet, documents, etc., etc. You can talk to church fathers if you will. That was quite interesting to me as well. To talk to certain monks that knew the history of the Bulgarian church within Northern Macedonia. Yada yada yada. But yet again, if you are ready to receive the truth, it is not that hard, right? So of course it is hurtful. I said it many times before. It is a lot of cognitive biases. There is so much brainwashing and there is so much that people base their existence on, right? Their self-identification, that they cannot snap out of it. So they rather stay in the delusion than accepting an uncomfortable truth, if you will. But I've seen that not only in the vegan community, in religious people, what have you, right? It is always the same. Those people cling onto an identity so much that if that what they are clinging onto is not true, is not real, that would burst their existence, that would destroy them as a whole. Imagine vegans, they believe that they are vegans because veganism is not some external thing, but it is an honest representation of their ethics that they already had. So what does that mean? It is brainwashing of the highest order, of course. Think about it. When a vegan tries to evangelize somebody on the street, kids most of the time, or women, they try to tell them, think about your pets, right? Think about your dogs and cats, and you love them so much, don't you? Would you ever kill your cat? Would you ever kill your dog? And most people answer, of course, with no, we wouldn't, right? And then they tell them, yeah, but listen, pigs are just as intelligent as dogs, even as intelligent as 3-year-old kids. They experience the same suffering. So now you might wonder, how does Bobby know this so well? Yeah, well, because I was a vegan for 4 years straight. Dummy me. Anyhow, then they want to tell you that the same way that you feel about your dog or a cat, or even your neighbor's dog or a cat, this way you already do feel about pigs, cows and chickens on the inside. However, society has brainwashed you into believing that their lives do not matter. But we know that cow lives do matter, right? And this is what they want to tell you. So, when that shift in consciousness happened, when it made click, and now you are a vegan, all of a sudden you believe that this veil has been lifted. And all of a sudden you can see through the matrix. And now you truly understand what is real and who you are. Most important, now you know who you are. You are this ethical, moral person. And if you would eat animals ever again, you couldn't look yourself into the eyes anymore. You couldn't look into the mirror because that would mean that you are now not an ethical, moral person any longer. Do you understand this? So, of course, this is only one part of the belief system. The other one is that animal foods are unhealthy for you. So every time you see a sizzling steak, you believe you're gonna die of a heart attack only looking at it, right? When I started eating eggs again, I believed so much into the cholesterol theory that I believed 1 egg per day should be enough. I don't know if I can eat 2. I really thought I'm gonna get a stroke, I'm gonna get a heart attack after eating 2 or 3 eggs per day. It is like smoking cigarettes. Yes, this is the brainwashing. So, ethically, you're brainwashed. From a health perspective, you're brainwashed. And some people go down the route as well of believing that they are saving Mother Earth, they are saving the environment, and if they only start eating grass-fed steaks again, Mommy Earth will die, right? Because of climate change, everything will implode. So, this is the perspective of a vegan, and now you have to understand that if that vegan would stop being vegan, or even think about stopping being vegan, they would have to let go of everything that they prior believed. Do you understand this? Now they have to jump out of every single comfort zone box that they find themselves in. I am ethical. I am saving the environment. I am healthy. So if I'm eating eggs from free-range hens, from rescued chickens, I could still be ethical, but at the same time, cholesterol though, I'm destroying my health. What should I do? Or is it really ethical? Shouldn't I feed those eggs back to the chickens? How about wild game? But that is bad for the environment as well, because we are over-hunting, etc., 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 you name it. So they have to crash every belief system, which is nothing but a belief system, in order to free themselves from the shackles of veganism. Can you understand this? And on that note, this takes courage. So respect to anybody that wakes up from veganism. It is a cult. That's just what it is. Anybody that found veganism in the first place had to shatter their belief systems first. Respect. That is good. You jumped out of your comfort zone. You saw something else. That is to be applauded. That is courageous. Even though it is dumb, it is still courageous. But now, and I talked about this with Drew Morgan on my channel, this free spirit, this open mind that led you to veganism should lead you right out of it yet again, right? Because you have to keep that open mind. But most people, they start working on themselves, they start improving, and they start to get more open-minded. They shatter their belief systems, eating meat is a must, and they try eating plant-based. Fantastic! But then all of a sudden they become so closed-minded, so dogmatic, and of course malnourished at the same time, that they're constantly hangry and constantly cling onto this identity. Because now it's not about veganism over here, it is about them being vegan, right? Be kind, be vegan, vegan for the animals, yes. This is what it is. And therefore, to let go of veganism isn't even the topic anymore. It is about letting go of their ego, their newly created ego. Or in some cases, they've been vegan for many years. So they have to let go of many years of social conditioning. I mean, look at, let's say, religious fanatics, right? Some people that join ISIS or any other terrorist group. Some of them fight back. But imagine how much it takes, right? They believe if they leave ISIS, Allah will condemn them. It is a brainwashing of the highest order. And now, keep in mind, we're still talking about either religion or nutrition that happened during a few years of brainwashing. When we're talking about Macedonianism, we're talking about literally everything that you believe. Who your parents are, who your uncles are, who your grandparents are, who your great-grandparents are, who your ancestors are, right? From Goce Delchev to Alexander the Great. So you believe like you're the public enemy number one that goes against everything. And your fellow countrymen will of course always remind you that you are wrong, that you are a Bulgarophile, right? So this takes of course courage, and it takes true understanding of the truth. Because if you know the truth, you won't be shaken. It will be easy for you. For me, it's a breeze. I'm enjoying it. I laugh when I see people trying to convince me about Macedonism. But at the same time, I do understand that for them, it's all they are. My parents are from the territory of Macedonia. Born in the Yugoslav Republic. Identified with Macedonia, but at the same time being super pro-Serbian, pro-Croatian, having great times, great stories about those people from Croatia, Serbia, etc., etc. They're great people in every single country, and I do not want to undermine their experience. They had a fantastic, beautiful time in the Yugoslav Republic and with the people from Serbia, Croatia, etc. And that is fine. I myself had many Serbian friends, I had Bosnian friends. Don't tell them that they're one people, they will be very, very angry, etc., etc. They're great, beautiful people in every single country. But that is not what this is about. This is about understanding what is true and what is not. And even if it hurts. Truth hurts. It hurts my heart. Guys, let go of national identification. You know what? Let go of identification altogether. It is a trap. All of the movements that we see nowadays are nothing but traps. Wake up. The MGTOW movement. People ask me, hey Bobby, what do you think about the MGTOW movement? Men going their own way. Or men becoming alphas again. Guys, you don't have to learn. You have to unlearn. You have to unload all the stress and all the conditioning that you have. No, this is not me telling you, oh, those are just social concepts and a man can be feminine again. Just express yourself. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you let go of those concepts, you can be what you are. So if you are a natural male and you forget about social conditioning, and social conditioning is as well how to be an alpha male, how to be strong, how to be this and that. If you forget about those concepts, you can listen to your own nature, you can listen to God, and then you will be a natural male, a natural man. You don't need to be an alpha male and this and that, right? It is all dumb, it is all concepts. It is like ladyboys in Thailand trying to be feminine. It is an interpretation, of course, right? Where do you see an honest self-expression of your core being? That's what I want to see in people. An honest self-expression of your true nature. Not a deluded version of yourself that you think is something that other people then will like. Right? So stop identifying and just be. I had a major trip. And that was in 2012. So almost 9 years ago. I had a psychedelic experience. Dangerous. Anyways, in that experience, I saw that everything in nature, literally, and I hate this word, literally, just is. Everything just is. The mountain just is. The dog just is. The wolf just is. The lion just is. The grass just is. Everything just is. Right? But the human is not just. Nope. The human is all over the place. And the human tries to be anything and everything. The human tries to be cool. The human tries to be tough. The human tries to be alpha, witty, funny. But all of that is BS. All of that is thinking ahead and planning. And how can I do this? Or revisiting the past. Could have I done this better? If you think about a dog and the dog barks. Woo woo. Do you think the dog will stop and think about the second bark? Because the first bark was amazing, but the second bark was a bit weak. Maybe I should improve my barking. Then I could be a better dog. Yes, then I would be a way better dog. And other bitches would love me. Yes, that would be so cool. Such a great experience. No dog would ever think about such a thing, because they're incapable, of course. But we humans, with the burden of our mind, constantly dwell in our mind. And we are abusing this God-given tool. You can use it for math, you can use it for science, but we use it for nothing really. Just overthinking over and over and over again. Thinking about the future, thinking about the past. Thinking about the future, thinking about the past. Thinking about concepts. Getting angry, getting outraged. Why? Totally removed from anything that is real. Anything that is reality. Anything that would contribute to actual productivity. People find themselves in their head all the time. This is why going to the gym helps so many people. Not necessarily only for the health benefits, but because they get the blood out of their brain and into their biceps, and for a second they're not thinking about themselves. Their ego, call it what you will. It is an absolute delusion, but this is what we see. And small-minded people find themselves only in their heads and think about themselves as so important. Oh, we're so important. We are the Macedonians. Hey, Tatars, Mongols. Woohoo! It is all a scam. Wake up. It is all a scam. Only if you can realize that you are you and I am me. That's it. We all have our own subjective experiences going through this life. And the greatest realization is that you are. I am. Right? Even in the Bible we'll find that. I am. Concentrate on that. Focus on your being. And you will have a fantastic life. It's absolutely amazing. Such a great state. If you can be in the moment. And I know for many people this will sound new agey, kind of spiritual. Ooh, we're meditating on the mountaintops. But it's true. You're obsessed with thoughts, you're obsessed with concepts, you're obsessed with nationalism, you're obsessed with religion to such an extent that you give religion a bad rep as well. It should be about pure understanding and love and knowing thyself. If you know thyself, everything else will follow. I remember this. It is 12 years ago. And I always love to talk. I always love to share stories, tell stories, and entertain the girls. I really enjoyed that. A very good friend of mine asked me, Bobby, how can you talk so much, man? How do you do that? And I said, it's not me. It just comes from God. No, it can't come from God, my friend answered. It comes from you. You must have specific life experience and certain talent maybe, but then you acquired a certain way of speaking because you read something. I was 20 years old. I didn't read much. If at all. I read Harry Potter at that point. That was pretty much it. I wasn't well read. I was just in the zone, in the moment. I was not wasting any thoughts. I was just me. I was just living life. And I told him, it comes all from God, man. This good friend of mine, who became an intellectual later on, couldn't believe me and told me it has to be intellectualized, it has to be understood, it has to be learned, it has to be acquired, it has to be a skill. And I told him, you do not have to learn anything. You are all in your head, you're all in your brain. You have to unlearn. Everything that you need to know is saved in your being. Anything else is intellectual masturbation. And maybe that is hip and trendy in certain circles. I mean, again, the vegans love when you cite some studies. If you want to be popular amongst the vegans, just cite some studies, dude. That's gonna really boost your reputation. 100%. But what will you truly acquire? You will learn something that somebody else learned, somebody else wrote about, somebody else read about. That's what you're gonna learn. You can acquire skills. You can learn martial arts. You can learn how to weightlift, how to diet. And that's all cool. Those are interesting skills. You can learn how to drive the car, become a pilot, whatever. But it won't change anything about yourself. Ever. It won't happen. Ever. Isn't that scary? And for many people, that is very scary. Because that means they would have to dwell in not knowing, not understanding something. Right? People always like to seem smart, look the part. I know. I have an answer for everything. Just ask me. I know. How about I know that I don't know? How about you don't know? What then? How about that you start examining that pretty much every belief that you hold is just that. It's just a belief. How about that? I guarantee you, in over 90% of people, this is the case. Most things that you believe them to be true, are just that. Just beliefs. You can't back them up, and you have never experienced them. Many people claim, I see it here as well, to have found Jesus. I found Jesus. Have you really? Or have you been just reading the Bible? And you said, Jesus is Lord. And now you found Jesus. Or did you really experience Jesus? Christ's love. Did you really? Or are you just making it up? I found Allah. Did you really? Have you really found Allah? Are you sure? Most people realize that they are nothing but a constitution of thoughts and beliefs. And if they are not letting go of those thoughts and beliefs, they will forever believe that they are just that. I am Macedonian, born in Germany. That's it. Can't be different. And if you say I'm wrong, that means my parents are wrong. And that means my grandparents are wrong. And that means everybody in school was wrong. At least in Skopje. If you say that veganism is wrong, that means my feelings are wrong. That means my ethics are wrong. That means eating soy schnitzel is wrong. Do you see the pattern here? You have to unlearn and you have to doubt your thoughts. God speaks to our heart, and the kingdom of heaven is within. And we can find it there. Most people that read the Bible don't read the Bible because the Holy Spirit came to them. They're just intellectualizing. And you can use the Bible for any type of argument that you want to support. But you do not know the Bible. That's like reading a book on Muay Thai. Let's say you're reading a book on Muay Thai. And the book is huge. And you intellectualize and memorize every single page. Every single one of them. And now somebody comes who's an actual Muay Thai champion. Let's say with 300 fights. And they come to you and they tell you, listen, actually it is way better if you throw the jab like this. Actually it is way better if you kick like that. And you say, nope, I'm pretty sure that is wrong, because if you open up page 732, you can clearly see that the angle has to be 32 degrees. This is how you do it. What would you say about such a person? It's idiotic. It's absolutely idiotic. Meanwhile, this is what we see nowadays. This is the science. Those are the intellectuals. Right? No matter how often you will read that book, if you don't get your ass up to train, you won't be a Muay Thai champion. Very, very simple. And me personally, I rather take the advice of somebody that did it practically, or even better yet, I do it myself. Yes, even better. Not disregarding that people can help you, of course, but they can only point you towards something, right? There's this old spiritual anecdote of the teacher pointing to the moon and telling the student, here, look, here is the moon. And the student keeps on looking at the finger and thinks the finger is what the master is talking about. But it is about the moon, right? So all scripture, all texts, anything is pointing you towards something, but the truth you will find within you, yet again. Who is experiencing that truth to begin with? It's not the book, it's not him, her, it's you. Stop trying to learn, start unlearning. This is the first step to actually living.
Maria,